Building a Tenor Guitar Part 22 at randallprice.com. Welcome back to Building a Tenor Guitar. Today I'll be working on shaping the guitar neck. Okay, this is the blueprint of the guitar neck. You can see it laid out right here. And what I've done is to make a tracing of that neck. And I will use this tracing to cut the profile of the neck out of the neck blank. The first thing I want to do before I cut that out, though, is to cut this angle for the headstock of the guitar. And I've measured this with a protractor. This is a 13-degree angle. And to cut that, I've made a jig to cut this on my table saw. And this is the jig that I made. And it's simply set up to cut a 13-degree angle. This is my neck blank that I made in a previous video, and this is just set to an angle that'll cut a 13-degree angle across the blank. To build this, as I said, I measured the angle on the blueprint. That was 13 degrees. And subtracted 13 degrees from 90 degrees to get a 77-degree angle, and I used that to draw a line at 77 degrees on my jig, and I just set this fence on my jig to that angle to get my 13-degree angle cut. And I'll simply just clamp this neck blank to my jig, take it over to the table saw, and make that cut. Okay, I have the blank set up and clamped to the jig, and I'm ready to make that cut on the table saw. So here's the piece cut. If I take my protractor and measure the angle just to double check, 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm right at 13 degrees. Next I want to cut out the profile of the neck using that template that I made. And I've taped the tracing paper in place on my neck blank. And what I'll do is flip this back, spray some spray adhesive on there, and then stick this down. And one tip I'd like to share with you, if you ever have any leftover wrapping paper, it works great to contain overspray, in this case for spray adhesive, or if you're ever doing any painting. And when we have leftover Christmas or birthday paper that we don't want anymore, I just keep that, and I can roll out as large of sheets that I need to use to contain that overspray. So it works great. When you're done, you can just wad it up and throw it away. I use this 3M 77 adhesive, and it works great for sticking patterns to wood. I also use this to stick sandpaper to sanding blocks, and I make sanding blocks using just automotive cork gasketing material. You can stick the cork to a piece of wood, then you can stick your sandpaper to that cork, and it makes a nice padded sanding block. So I use this spray for a lot of things. For this, I'm going to turn this around where I can get to it, and I'll spray it lightly on the tracing paper. And then pull this back in place. I'll start in the center and work out. now that tracing paper is well adhered to my blank, and I'll just be able to cut this out on the bandsaw, and when I'm done I can just scrape that tracing paper off. There is a close-up of what that looks like on the neck blank. I'm ready to cut out the profile, and I'll just cut this freehand on the bandsaw, and I'll just stay on the waist side of the line so I have a little extra stock there to do any final shaping that I need to do. So there's the rough profile of the neck. In the next video, I'll be cutting the tenon on the end of the neck and get that fit to the guitar, and then I'll start shaping the neck, and also the headstock's not wide enough. I'll be gluing some wings on the side of the headstock to make it the proper width. So that's all for today. For woodworking plans, tips, and techniques, visit randallprice.com.